So we're on the road, the Roar Zone, and I'm going to start this show a little different than most shows. When I read this bio, I'm like, man, am I glad we are going to connect. Tiffany is a badass when it comes to being brave. At the start of 2016, she began experiencing a healing, transformation, and spiritual awakening that is continuing to unfold. In one magical year, Tiffany had a near-death experience, cut ties with an abusive relationship, experienced the spontaneous healing of several disabling health conditions after eating a meal of pizza and chocolate cake. Man, that sounds like my menu. Left the Mormon cult, experienced of a kundalini. She's going to give me the definition of that. Awakening that guided her to Tantra, and discovered her psychic gifts. As a result of these experiences, Tiffany's mantra became, fuck the rules. Love it. She radically changed her life, moved from LA to San Diego, and began an entirely new path. Find out more tonight, and we are here. I love the bio. I knew I was going to read this as an intro as soon as I read it, but it got even better. I walked in, we're in her house, and I look around, and one sign on our wall says, I am a fucking badass. Another sign on the wall says, I love myself. Give us some other ones.
I'm a queen, and I'm hot and sexy.
That a girl. I love it. And she said in her bedroom is even more signs. What that does is that just completely saturates your subconscious mind. And when you understand how the mind works, conscious, subconscious, and then the body create your results. These signs are so important and so powerful. And we're going to get into this story. And the other thing I can tell from Tiffany that we're going to connect with, and when she said to me, I'm an open book. So I love it because we're real, raw, and live. Because I always tell people, your story's not about you, right? You were bad enough to make it through. Now it's your obligation to put it out there and help others. So I can tell we got a lot to do.
Yeah, we do.
We got a lot to do. Introduce yourself and let us know where you're from and where this all started.
Sure. My name's Tiffany Compton, and I was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
I was born in Van Nuys and brought home and lived in that house pretty much my whole life. I was married for a time and lived there, and after my divorce, I moved back to take care of my mom, and she had cancer and passed away in 2014. And my whole life, I was the girl on stage singing in plays.
Really?
And my parents were educators, so school was really important. We never got to school. We had to go there every day. It didn't matter if you were coughing and sneezing.
Oh, God, I would have aged them if I was your kid.
Oh, my brother had ADD, and he didn't get out of it either. No, my mom was like, he is going to graduate from high school. Like, no
matter what.
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable for her.
Yeah.
How was school for you?
I love school.
You did?
I've always loved school. I loved reading. I loved
You loved
art,
all that, huh?
Yeah, music.
I always would watch from afar people like you when I was in school because it was so hard for me. I'd see some people and they were so easy. They were in their realm. They were in their world. And it was so interesting to me because it was so different for me. Right. And then I would always want to befriend you because then you'd help me with tests. Right? That's called survival, baby.
Yeah, no.
Did you play sports? What'd you do?
I did swimming. Mostly I swam in high school and college. I was in choir, student government, drama.
Did it all.
Well, even in high school, I volunteered a lot with kids with disabilities. And in college, I studied therapeutic recreation. And so I worked a lot with people who had special needs and disabilities. And I learned a lot.
What made you gravitate towards that? Were you interested in that when you were young?
Yeah, my mom was an elementary school teacher, and I would always, after graduating from elementary school, go and volunteer at the school. Right. And I was gravitating a lot to the special needs class, and I was drawn to music and games and sports, recreation. Okay. And when I went to college, and I felt drawn to study therapeutic recreation because I get to play all day and help people. enjoy play in a way that really builds them up, helps them feel
and is it also part of it? I would imagine a big part of this too is you're able to actually you literally get to see results. You know, like the reward.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's
that
beautiful
fulfillment.
because people with learning issues, I learned so much compassion. And a lot of those kids have so much frustration because they're trying so damn hard.
And they don't know what to do.
And they don't fit in the box. It's like, I don't fit in this box.
Yes.
And they're just trying and they're getting beat over the head.
Yes.
Like, you're doing it wrong. There's something wrong with you. And it's like, I'm not like everyone else. I can't do it like them. And it's just this horrible washing of guilt and shame.
And not knowing, right? And feeling like there's something wrong.
Right.
Right?
And then you have to be fixed. Like, everyone's telling you that you need to fix this.
Right.
Or something, you're damaged.
Because you have to become that sheep.
You have to be a sheep.
Right. You have to become that. No. And I say this all the time. I just did a keynote the other night in San Diego, and I say this all the time, and I mean it with every part of my being. I thank God every day that I figured out a while back that EQ trumps IQ in the real world all day long. Thank God for me, because I'd be in major trouble.
I know.
But you know, at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, and people, when they look at the biographies of some of the most successful entrepreneurs that we know and successful leaders, they never fit in the box.
Yeah, never.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you found working with, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think it really takes away people's light when you try to do that, put them in this box.
That's a good one. I love the way you put that. It takes away people's light.
It's a unique expression of the divine. Everyone is a unique expression. And if you take that away, it's taking away a part of God in the universe. And I think that's really sad.
Yeah, because you're taking away their gift, right?
You're
taking away their gift or gifts.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I speak on leadership. I speak on fear barriers. I speak on this. I speak on that. But where everything maps directly to is your self-image, because you could build it up, you could tear it down, but you can't outperform it, right? So when you were talking about, like, you're taking a part of them, right? You're literally taking a part of their self-image, right? And I believe that the greatest gift that any adult can give any child is a bulletproof self-image, because you're going to teach them to fish.
Exactly.
Love that. What are some of the things that it did for you to work with the special needs, or you know? And I don't know what the extent. What were their issues?
Oh, everything. I mean, I work with kids, adults, seniors. I worked with this one woman. She was 90-something years old, wanted to learn to swim before she died. So the old folks called me up and said, "We need you to come teach her to swim." That was like her bucket list thing, you know.
Man.
Yeah, and then a lot of kids with autism, cerebral palsy, people with spinal cord injury, and working with them in the water, giving them a place to release the extra energy or feel like this womb, because like sort of sense that helped calm a lot of them. One man I work with, he had a spinal cord injury. He was quadriplegic. He had very limited use of his upper limbs. And it's beautiful in the pool because he said, "This is the first time I've been able to stand up and have my feet on the ground." And yeah.
Wow.
So it was a really beautiful gift.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and the water is liberating.
So we did a show, a few episodes. A friend of mine, Patty Roberts, she runs a nonprofit in Menifee, and it's a horse ranch. So one Saturday,
therapeutic riding.
Yeah, and so we did an episode on a Saturday morning with the kids, and they were telling me that the way the horse's gait is, it's just like, it's complete therapy.
Yeah, a lot of the kids who I work with would do that too.
Really?
It's really powerful.
Yeah, because I live in
and the bond with the animal, because a lot of them can't bond. They don't have the ability to bond with people.
Right, and there's that energy, right? That nature already infused. That you can see it in the horse, but you can also see it in the kid or the adult, right? The person, and it's that connection. And I always say, because we also have something else in common that's so awesome, is elephants.
Yeah.
We love elephants.
We love elephants.
Because when you look in their eyes, there's a soul.
They're deep. They're wise.
Yes. And you use some other verbiage. Yes.
Regal.
Yes, I love that. And I also
and they're
love...
fierce and gentle at the same time.
Yes, and very, very family oriented.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
they protect theirs.
They protect theirs. And the other thing that I love about them, because doing a little bit of homework on them, is they stay in nature. And what I mean by that is they have a pecking order, right? Mm-hmm. There's an alpha, right? And there's an order. And I think that's where so many humans go wrong. They forget that you have, again, women, right? Especially women are caregivers by nature, right? And they give themselves, they're last, they're third, they're fourth, they're second. And most of the time, a good woman is an alpha. And nature says you have to eat first so your pack can now survive for the next day. And I believe that when you don't do that, you go against nature. So I think that's so cool that they just know. They're so amazing. I don't know. I've always been, and I love dogs. I mean, I love dogs. I love dogs. It's so important. And I feel bad for people that can't get that connection. I do. I feel bad. There's something missing. There's a hiccup. Yeah, if you can't get that, right? So we got a lot to talk about.
I know. Oh my goodness.
So you went through some rough times, right? When did the really rough times start with you? Like
in high school, when I was 14, I started experiencing very severe depression. Really severe, dark. It started as a result of a talk at church about how bad sex is, and I thought I was going to hell for masturbating.
Really?
And I came home from that class.
Oh, you were Mormon.
I was Mormon. Yeah. And I came home from that class, and I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself because I thought I was going to go to hell. Yeah.
Wow. And then
every day, I would come home crying, and as soon as my mom came home, I heard the garage door and washed my face and pretend like I was fine.
Oh, so you couldn't say anything?
Yeah, it was so much shame.
Yeah.
So much shame.
Could you talk to anybody about it at that time?
No, it took me a long time. And then finally, when I was 17, I needed help because I really wanted to die. Like, I was starting to plan it out, and life was too overwhelming. And at that point, so many other things had built up besides just the shame.
Because of what you attracted, right? As you know, energy, right? Attracts energy.
Yeah, and a lot of other things at home that I didn't know about, too.
Oh, okay.
Like, dynamics at home that I wasn't aware of, but energetically could pick up on between my parents. And
but you couldn't connect it at the time, right?
Yeah.
And things just seemed...
And the perfectionism, because I was a good student. I wanted to do everything right and perfect and please everyone else and take care of everyone else and do everything and manage everyone's feelings, keep things peaceful and smooth and look just right. And that took a toll too.
And, right? You ready? And not feed yourself first, right?
I did that last.
Yes, right. But you're in the majority. You're not in the minority. You're in the majority. Did you get to a point where you hit rock bottom and then you start to get help?
I started getting help in my senior year in high school. Started seeing a psychiatrist.
So your parents knew.
Put me on drugs, and then right away that just started a whole snowball of problems. Put me on all different kinds of psychiatric medications, and then that created more psychiatric problems and more physical side effects, and then I started getting all of these physical health problems. And
really,
long list of them.
Really, wow. And God, you were just a little girl. I mean, you were young. Wow.
So the physical health problems came more later in my 20s, but it was hard. I mean, in and out of the psychiatric hospital in my life. I've been in that psychiatric hospital 17 times.
Wow. In your life. How old are you?
I will be 40 in August, so a little under 2 months.
Wow. So 17 times. What kind of experiences were they?
Going in the hospital because I wanted to kill myself, or one time I actually did try to kill myself when I was in a coma, or I'm having a psychotic episode and I'm seeing things and hearing things, or I'm cutting on myself, or like scratching off things that I think are crawling on me that aren't there.
And were you on meds then?
Yeah, I mean, lots. I mean, at one point I was on about 100 pills a day.
Wow. Okay. So, so take us through now. So.
I mean, it was terrible because they were saying, this is something you're going to have forever. It's never going to go away. You're going to manage it. but it just kept getting worse and worse, and the doctors didn't know what to do. Oh, here's another pill, here's another pill, here's another
just
pill.
Mask it.
And I'm getting worse and worse. I'm sleeping at some points 18 hours a day because I'm so drugged, and just really having no life. And it even got to the point where some doctors would have to discharge me because they didn't know how to help anymore. And my life was just collapsing. For a couple years, probably about 5 years, I had a little bit of stability. I graduated from college. I got married when I was 21. And after being married for a while, things were good and then not good.
Yeah.
And then started to have abuse in the relationship. And that was another huge triggering event. And so the stability left at that point, and life just became a living hell. Every day was hell. And in 2004, I attempted suicide, thinking I could escape this hell because they're saying, oh, don't give up, it can get better. And I'm thinking, everyone's telling me this is not going away. How is this supposed to get better?
Right.
Like this permanent problem.
So you're just complete in the dark. In that darkness.
Oh, yeah, you know what? And not even that darkness that way, but it was like going through every day wearing sunglasses. When I look back on those memories, they actually look dark in my mind. I'd go out in the day and it was like watching Batman movies where everything's dark, yeah.
Isn't that interesting? It's so amazing what your mind is capable of, you know? It's so powerful. And people, if they don't really take the time to study the mind, that it's omnipresent in every cell of our body, they automatically think of the brain, and it's not. The mind is who we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's us. So now you're married. You have some stability. Right?
And then the abuse started happening, and then I lost the stability back in the hospital.
Now, before the abuse and when there was stability, how was your mental capacity? It
was pretty normal. Like, I graduated from college.
Okay.
I started my business. I started a swim school doing aquatic therapy.
Now, did your ex-husband know of your past?
Yeah.
Okay, so he knew.
He knew.
Okay. Yeah. But at that window, everything was pretty normal.
Yeah, everything was pretty normal.
And then it just got to a point where did it just happen overnight when you look back, or did it?
It was happening gradually. Even the abuse.
That's what I mean. But you weren't. It was small, right? It was kind of, and then it just kind of snowballed, and then
And a lot of times we override those.
Yes.
Moments. Like.
Yes.
What was that?
Yeah.
And
am I making more of it than right? Or even worse is you created it.
Oh, I got that all the time. I mean, I even went to my husband when I was married at the time, and I said, you're abusing me. This is not okay. We need help. We need to do something. He's like, oh, this is in your imagination. And I said, well, if it is, then I need to go to the hospital. I must be psychotic. And he's like, no, you can't do that. I said, I need to go. And he refused to let me go by myself. He had to drive me there. And when I went to the emergency room, the social worker said, you need therapy. You're not psychotic. You're just in a really high stress state. And that was really the beginning of the most intense crazy meeting of my life.
Right.
Of constantly being told that it's like me. You become the identified patient. Oh, she's the crazy one. We can blame all our problems on her. You know?
Right.
And not take accountability.
Right.
And that, I mean, I did a lot of shitty stuff too. I mean, I was no saint. I did a lot of bad things too, but that doesn't excuse other people's behavior.
No, because it's everyone has to step up, or they don't have to. But in order to get better, in order to fix it, you got to own it, right? You got to own it and figure that out. And that's what helped me get through my divorce. Is I had to own it. That's why I have such a passion for personal development, because I wasn't that person. I just wasn't until, I implement this in my life. How long were you married?
I was married about 11 and a half years. So we got married June of 99, and then I think August 2003 was when I was in the hospital. And
that's when it really hit.
Yeah, in between August 2003 to August 2005, I was hospitalized, psychiatric hospitalizations, 9 times.
Wow.
9 times.
9 times.
And so, and the second to last hospitalization was from the suicide attempt, December 9th, 2004. Attempted suicide, I overdosed on about 1,000 pills. My husband came home, found me in a coma, called paramedics. They took me away, and I was not breathing, so they had to perform a procedure so I could breathe, and that ended up, after waking up from the coma after a week, they discovered it damaged my trachea. So then I, about a month later, had to get a tracheostomy for 2 years.
What damaged it, though?
It created an infection, and it just created a scar.
Oh.
And the scar just kept growing and growing, and then it got to the point where I just couldn't breathe at all. My air
was just closing up?
Wow. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. Yeah.
Wow, that's scary.
It's really scary.
I mean, really. So when did you get to a point where you just knew you couldn't go on with the marriage?
Things were really fragile when I was dealing with all those physical health problems for a while, and things just kind of were barely getting by. And I was just in this stupor state for a long time. And then I would say in 2009, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I talked to a friend, and she said, Tiffany, you've been trying so hard. Try harder than almost anyone I know. You're really trying. And tell them I'm giving it a year. And if things don't get better, if this criteria is not met, I want a divorce. And so in the beginning of 2010, that's what I did. I said,
Gave it a year?
This is what I want. I'm giving it a year. And if this doesn't happen, I want a divorce. Oh, okay. And I'll do whatever you want. I promise. And it went good the first month. And then the second month was about half. And the third month less. And then after that, none at all. I had a lot of practice staying silent, all that time not being able to talk. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm done nagging. I'm done complaining. I just went along.
You're just done. Yeah.
And I was observing. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put my best effort. And at the end of the year, things didn't get better. They got worse. And so I made the decision to leave. And I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if he'd be really angry or relieved. And so I told my family and had a family meeting. And he went to work one day. And when he came home, all my things were gone.
Is your family supportive?
Well, my mom was, and things have changed a lot since my mom's passed away.
Yeah, she was kind of like the
my mom.
The solid, the home base, right?
Yeah, so, and then that process took about 2 years to go through the divorce, and that was hard and awesome at the same time because I was able to get the help that I needed in terms of getting the therapy that I needed and the treatments that I needed to get well.
But did they still have you on all the meds?
I'm almost off all of them.
But were you at the time? Like after the divorce, were you still on all the meds?
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost off all of them now.
Wow.
But, I was still on them. And going through the divorce, things were improving because I'm like, I got out of this horrible situation. But every time we had to go back and handle a legal issue, it would flare everything up again, and I'd go back to my fragile state again with all of my health issues. I started having seizures. I was getting eczema, breaking out in sores all over. I developed anaphylactic food allergies. Got Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition.
Now, were you able to work?
It was like on and off. I was on disability a lot, and I was trying to get back to work, but every time I would have a flare from stress, it was like, well, never mind,
Right.
The divorce was completed in January 2013, and things like, okay, it's going to be fine now.
Going to get better.
Yeah, and then my mom passed away about a year later, February 2014, and then I was living on my own, and while I was in that process for 2014 and 2015, each year he would take me back to court trying to get out of financial responsibilities, and it would recirculate all of that trauma, the abuse, and bringing up memories of my mom and family dynamics that had kind of not gone so well. And
it just kind of...
Yeah, it really affected me.
So then you would be back a few more steps again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have to hire people I had to hire a caregiver. I mean, I couldn't drive. I was unable to drive. I couldn't take care of myself physically. It was either have a caregiver or be in the hospital.
let's go right up to the aha moment, to that change, right? Now that people have a real understanding.
Right.
When, where, how did this happen?
So December 2nd, 2015.
Okay.
I was in a deposition with my ex-husband, and I was highly triggered in this experience, and I entered a catatonic state, and they called the paramedics, and after that day, between December 2nd, 2015 and January 6th, 2016, I was in and out of catatonic states.
And what does that mean?
Catatonic state is basically almost like a vegetative state.
Really?
You just can't move, you can't talk.
You just freeze?
Mm-hmm.
So
someone could come over and stab me with a knife, and I would just not.
So you went into that state literally at that position?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And then all the shame, because people are like, "Oh, just snap out of it. You're acting like a baby. Or, stop it." But people don't understand trauma in the body, and everyone reacts differently to trauma. And that's a whole other conversation.
No, and that's the mind, right? That's how powerful the mind is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can create physical issues. Absolutely.
Physical and mental health issues. And so I had to hire a caregiver during this time because I was just, like I said, in and out of this catatonic state. And during this time, I had to prepare paperwork for the court. And on January 6th, 2016, 16, my caregiver, her name is Tantra, I said to her, part of me just wants to be like, forget it, keep your money, it's not even worth it. Because every time this gets stirred up, I lose all the progress that I made. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to work, I'm going to be able to be like normal. And then this happens and it all gets thrown in the trash. And so, she just said, well, why don't you just let it go? And I said, I can't, I'm disabled, got these health problems, this is my insurance policy. If all hell breaks loose, shit hits the fan, this is my way to make sure that I'm not homeless or in an institution. And she said, Tiffany, God has better things in store for you than to be tied to abusive narcissists the rest of your life. And that was the first time someone gave me permission to do something that didn't really make sense. Like, oh my God, that's not smart. Bad stuff can happen.
It's not logical.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just like, it just felt good. And I knew I needed to explore that. So she left early that night and I started meditating. And I was trying to decide, how am I going to go about this? Am I going to just cut it off right away? Is it going to be graduated reduction to kind of help me fall into this new pattern of getting used to not having this money? Yeah. Writing pros and cons lists of all different things. I was just, I couldn't make up my mind, and I was trying to decide, based on all of the lists. I even put the list on the floor and I asked my dog, which one should I pick? Go sit on it. And she looks at me like, Mama, you gotta figure this one out.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I don't know. And I just went to bed. And the next morning I woke up really early. And I was like, wow, I feel good. I'm showing up for myself today. And I got up and I took a shower, did my hair and makeup, put on a fancy outfit. I'm like, I'm making this my day.
Wow.
And I wrote in my journal and I just started this prayer journal meditation, trying to decide how I should go about this decision. And I was at this point between two different decisions. One was to over a year, and then the other one was today, call my attorney today. And I decided to go with today because I thought, if I end it today, this is the path of support. My healing starts today. Because I saw myself at a fork in the road, and one foot's on this path, and one foot's on this path, and I had to decide. I'm like, okay, I'm going over here. Because you can't get too far on the path walking like that.
And ultimately that decision allowed you to release the toxic energy.
Yes, and that's when I cut the energetic ties.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And in that moment, I woke up from that state of, the almost death-like state that I had been in for that.
And the helpless state, right? Mm-hmm. You took control back of your life.
I did.
You took that driver's seat back. Mm-hmm. You took control because you made a decision which started from somebody giving you the okay, mm-hmm. right? And also giving you another option mm-hmm. that you never thought was on the table, right? Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I made the decision, and I finished, and I closed the journal, and I said, okay, this is the decision. And I hear a knock on the door, and I think it's Tamara, my caregiver. And it was a delivery from Amazon. I'm like, oh, okay, what is this? And a couple months before, someone had mentioned, you know, you're a very creative person. I think you could earn money doing some different creative projects. Like this person, she gave me some different ideas. She says, I think you can like really make money like with this, support yourself. So I ordered these supplies, art and craft supplies, and one of them was on back order, and it was the one that I wanted the most, these special colored pencils. And I'd been waiting and forgot about them. Amazon knocks on the door, and it's the colored pencils, and it was like the divine saying, here you go. Like this is a sign that you're going to be able to take care of yourself. There's going to be a way for you to support yourself by expressing your creativity.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So take us further along.
Yeah, so Tamara answers the door, knocks on the door 5 minutes later, and she says, whoa, what happened?
She felt it?
Oh, yeah. Everyone did. I mean, people were taking pictures of me that day because they said I looked totally different. I mean, not just different because I was like, had my hair and makeup done, which I hadn't done much.
Energy.
It was an
energy. Yeah.
And Tamara, she came, she said, today's my last day, huh? And I said, yeah. And I was fine. And then she said, well, get ready because God's going to start speaking to you in ways that God has never spoken to you before. And when you're asked to do something, do it. Do it right away, even if it doesn't make sense. Act immediately. And
when was this? What month?
This was January 7th, 2016.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so I'm like,
about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. And then on January 9th, 2016, 2 days later, I heard the voice come to me, and it said, I want you to do something crazy. Are you going to listen? I thought, okay. And I was asked to get pizza and a chocolate cake, preferably with Oreos, a packaged convenience food, preferably without an expiration date, a candy I felt drawn to eat, and popcorn. And this may not seem like that radical a thing for most people, but I had anaphylactic food allergies. I had an EpiPen. If I ate these foods, I could die or end up in the hospital and be very ill. I was on a really rigid diet for many years trying to heal with food. My whole world was around eat this way, exercise this way, do everything like this with the prayer and the hope that if I just stick to the plan,
do it long enough, right? I'm
going to get well. It's like, oh, I can't. Also, like, really big into organic. Oh, I can't eat that. It's not organic. You know. Oh, no. That animal was abused, and there's chemicals in that. Oh, no. Like that's contaminated. I can't eat that. And so, even if it was something that potentially I might not be allergic to, I probably wouldn't eat it anyway, just because if by chance it was contaminated.
It just wasn't part of your regimen.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Really rigid. And so I went and got this meal. I thought, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's find out. Put it all on the table. I'm thinking, this may be my last meal.
Right? This could be the last supper.
And I pulled open the pizza and I took a bite and I was like, this isn't even that good. Like I've been thinking I'm missing this. And I hear, just keep eating. And so, and so I kept eating this pizza, and I was doing a mindful eating exercise and dissecting all the different components, the textures and the flavors, and combining all the different parts together and then separating them in my mouth and in my mind. And I ended up eating the whole pizza, and I thought, I really did like that pizza. It was just cold, and I didn't like the sausage. And then I got a nice big slice of chocolate cake, and I had them write congratulations on hot pink icing, because, you know, the red food color, that's like a really bad one. Oh my God, you're going to die if you eat that, you know. Get on your skin. You know, that's toxic. Wow. So I cut out as much as I could of that hot pink icing, put a little candle in it, and blew up my wish, and had my cake. I didn't eat the whole piece, but I thought, this is beautiful. I love it.
You had no reaction.
None.
No. And what, did you keep hearing the voice?
Mm-hmm. And so I enjoyed this meal, and I watched a movie, and I just had a beautiful night, and I went to bed, and I didn't die. And the next morning I woke up, my eczema started going away. I immediately started losing a lot of weight because all the inflammation in my body was just leaving. It's just like, like my body can just go.
And probably the medications with the steroids and, makes your body.
Yeah. And so my body was just like relaxing for the first time because I was listening to this voice that's telling me to do something that doesn't make sense, but it was what I needed to do, regardless of how a doctor or a scientist, a minister, a friend, a health coach, whatever, it was irrelevant. It was what I was guided to do, what was authentic for me.
So just give us some of the things that have changed now in the last year and a half, besides the physical, besides the freedom, right?
Right.
What else?
Well, after that, it shifted me, and it shifted me in ways that I am still discovering now. And the first time I went back to the Mormon religion after that, because I had been away, I immediately thought, I'm an alien, I don't belong here. Which I thought was kind of strange in some ways, but in other ways now it makes sense because I heard this voice that was asking me to do something that didn't make sense, that was outside the box.
And didn't align with the religion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And instinctively I knew. And so I stopped going. And then a couple months later, I had a kundalini awakening, and I was just like, what the fuck was that?
What is that?
Kundalini is an energy in the body, and I'm still learning about it. I'm like no expert, but it comes up the spine. It's like on the different chakras. So there's the root chakra, the sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And there's other ones too, but those are the main ones. And so the kundalini energy is like this life energy that's in all of us, and it got activated from the base of my spine up the top of my head.
And how did that feel?
It was amazing. I was seeing visions of angels. I had all these my mom appeared to me who had been passed, my grandma, my great-grandma, all the female lineage on the maternal line came to me. My spirit
were you?
I was at home. And I was sweating profusely, intense sweating. And it lasted about 6 or 7 hours. And after it was complete, I felt like I gave birth because I was exhausted but elated at the same time. Not that I've never given birth, but I've heard what it's like.
Of course. Yeah.
I felt like all my joints became unhinged. I looked in the mirror and I laughed because it looked like I just got out of a swimming pool. I mean, it was like drenched. My hair and my skin was just drenched. And I didn't know what happened, but I knew something magical happened. And in this process, I was also getting ready to move down to San Diego because that was another thing I was guided to do shortly after.
You were in LA.
Mm-hmm. Shortly after my awakening, not the Kundalini awakening, but the spiritual healing awakening earlier in the year. And so right after I had the Kundalini awakening, maybe like a month later is when I moved down here. And so I started searching, what was this? And I was going to different groups and searching for different things like, what is this? And I knew somehow it was tied to sexual energy because it was a sexual experience, but yet spiritual at the same time.
Well, what do you think pulled you to San Diego?
Oh, that was a cool story. So July 2015, my dog was really sick, and we didn't know how she was going to get better. I thought she was going to die. Nothing was working that the doctors recommended, and a friend recommended an animal communicator. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. An animal communicator did a session with my dog and said, oh, this is simple. She just has an energetic blockage. Go to this lady in Encinitas. She'll clear it, and your dog will be fine. And my dog was fine. And coming down here was a monumental effort because I had those health problems. My dog had health problems. My Prius is packed full of medical stuff for me and my dog just to come down for 2 or 3 nights, I think. When I was down here for those couple days, it was like medicine for me. Going to the beach and just the energy here. It's a very magical energy. And my eczema started clearing up when I was down here those couple days. And I just felt lighter. I felt freer. I felt peaceful and safe. So after July, I kept coming down to travel because it just felt like...
It's just pulling you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so probably in February, I heard the voice come down here. And
well, this year?
No, last year.
Oh, okay, 2016,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so I did, and it was beautiful that I came here now because this is land of woo-woo. I mean, you're
living in a bubble. I know.
Yeah, there's all this woo-woo stuff out here, and metaphysical, Tantra.
It's unbelievable. And then when you talk about Encinitas,
it's a huge spiritual community. Not religious, it's spiritual.
No. It's totally different.
So I went to an event, and that I had topics that I was interested in, because I thought, well, maybe this can explain kind of what I experienced. And so we were doing a meditation, and we had one hand on our heart, one hand on our genitals, and it was like not like we're masturbating in front of anyone. It was just like just holding. And
it was a connection.
Yeah, it was a breath exercise. And when we're doing this, I hear in my mind, "This is it, you found me." And I realized that my path was going to be tied to Tantra, because it was a class on Tantra. And
what does Tantra mean?
Tantra means a lot to a lot of different people.
Okay.
For me, what it means
mean?
is finding the divine in all things. It's not necessarily sexual. Sexuality is definitely a part of it, but it's when you're eating, you're having this beautiful, intimate connection with your food. When you are walking on the grass, it's like this connection with the divine.
So you're constantly in the moment.
Mm-hmm. In the moment. And you're finding the divine. And even when you're pissed off and you're angry, the divine is in that moment. Yeah. And you're not doing it to lash out or lashing out in terms of like attacking others or even yourself. It's letting the experience move through you. Okay. So letting the experience of anger move through you as the divine. Letting the experience of the bliss of enjoying food move through you as the divine.
Keep that flow.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that flow. And it's like I like to say, letting life fuck you open. Like I go through life and let it fuck me open. Okay. And every experience of life is like penetrating all my cells of just like God, divine, like life is a living orgasm. And it just, every moment can be like that. And it could be different. And it's not always like the same kind of orgasm, but it's like you can find. But it's that euphoria. Yeah, right? Yeah. It's that. And it's even a euphoria in ways that you don't expect. A euphoria in sadness, a euphoria in anger, a euphoria in fear, because you go into it. You don't run from it. When you're scared shitless, you just feel that fear. So I don't know if you know this, but so I have a book, and it's called Knock Out Fear in the First Round. Mm-hmm. And I finished it last summer, so it's going to come up to a year. And I just reached out to my publisher, and I said, Kelly, what would I need to do to change it? Now, one of the titles in my one of the chapters is called Fearless is Bullshit. And what I talk about is, and I want to change the title of this book to Fearless is Bullshit, because we're conditioned to think that if you're not fearless, you're never going to win, right? You need to be fearless. If you feel fear, there must be something wrong. And I think that's wrong. It's misleading. It's discouraging. It's confusing. Fear is a feeling just like joy. Fear is a feeling just like happiness, just like sadness, just like anger. And it's either going to be your heaviest anchor or your most powerful propeller. But because I talk about fear barriers, right? The goal is not to be try because you'll never be fearless, right? It's to tap into that courageous part of you, because courage comes from that 3-letter word core, which comes from the inside, right? That comes from the inside. And when you feel fear and you move forward, that's the courageous, that faith, that knowing, right? That's magic. Yes, magical. Magic, miracles, right? Yes. I love, so we have a lot in common with that. Yeah, because so many people are like, ew, feelings, get that off of me. Yeah. Even with kids, like when you're a kid, calm down, you're too excited. Well, here's the other thing. Oh my gosh, Here's the other thing, my experience where I grew up, right, being a boy, being a man, if you felt fear, you're weak, right? There's something wrong with you. If you show fear, if you feel fear, and it's so misleading, it makes you nuts, right? Because you're like, oh my God, am I that weak? But ultimately, what we were taught, where I'm from, is the reverse. When you don't show that fear and you hide that fear, that's when you are weak. But when you can show that fear and show your vulnerability, that's the power. Yeah, and not getting stuck in it either. No. Like when you're in fear, you're like, I am fully in this fear, and not get in the story.
Yes.
You get in your body. You feel it in your body. What is this fear without attaching a story? And you just feel it fully.
Love it.
And sometimes you shake that crazy. Yeah. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're sweating and you're scared to death, right? And but I always say too is in life, because this is our one ride, right? Who knows what's going to happen after. We can all guess, but that's it. We're going to try, right? And everyone has their own beliefs. But at the end of the day, people say, well, I don't know if my goal's right. I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's that. It's simple. If I call it the dynamic duo. If it scares you and excites you at the same time, it just means it's big enough. Right? Because this is our one journey. This is it. When it scares you and excites you at the same time. And when you don't go for that feeling consistently, you're losing this thing called life.
Going back almost my whole life, I never really understood life. I didn't want to be alive. Get me out of this place.
Fear,
Get me to heaven.
Fear.
Get me to heaven where none of the bullshit is.
Right.
And I can finally be free, because I thought I can't be happy here. Because this is my lot in life. I'm going to be miserable. But if I pass off my checklist of do's and don'ts with an A+, then I can be happy for that. And it's just not going to be here. And my mom, she would always say how much she loved being alive. And before she died, I was like an investigative journalist with her. What is this? Tell me. And she was like, oh, I love hearing the birds sing. I love walking on the grass. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's
so
heaven.
foreign,
We're doing this shit. And after my kundalini awakening is when I really got it. I realized that my life before was hell, and where I am now is heaven.
You create your own. You create your own.
And even in the pit of sadness and fear, I'm still in heaven, and that cannot be taken away. I can give it away if I choose.
Yes.
But it can't be taken. And it was so liberating. And my mom even came to me in a dream one time. And she was terrified to die. Her fear was letting go. My fear was staying here.
Yeah.
That's why it was so easy for me to leave my body, being catatonic and psychotic. And so she came to me, and it was just an exchange. We didn't speak, and I handed over death, and she handed me life. And I woke up, and I was crying and crying, because I was like, I get it. And I heard the birds sing, and I was like, hi, Mom. And I got it. I got what she meant, because it's about being here now.
And creating your own heaven and hell.
Yes.
I'm going to probably jack this up, right? But I just saw this on Facebook. It was reposted by Jesse James, the West Coast Chopper. I follow him on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And he says, if you're looking for your Zen at the top of the mountain, you have to bring it. The Zen isn't at the top of the mountain unless you bring that Zen. But I also am a believer, because it's happened to me in my life, a lot like what happened to you. 2005, still married, and we took a long vacation. We were living in Jersey, and my wife's a corporate event planner, so she planned this whole 12-day vacation from downtown San Diego to Santa Monica. And we just traveled, and we stayed in Huntington Beach for a few days, then we stayed there, right? And it was the first time for me in Southern California. I was there one other time in Long Beach, but just for a weekend. So I experienced Southern California, and I just felt it was unbelievable feeling, right? And I remember our last day, we were at the Lowe's in Santa Monica. We're on the beach having breakfast, and I said, Michelle, we got to be here. And she knows me. When I make a decision, it's on. And she's, born and raised in Jersey, big Italian, Greek family. So she, it wasn't why we got divorced, but it started that separation. And I had to be here. So by November 2007, in the same week of Thanksgiving, it was a wild week, made settlement on my house, settlement on the business, and the divorce went through, and we're still really close. And I came out here full time July 19th, 2008, and it was just like, So I believe that we create our own heaven and hell, right? But I also believe, like you said, when you listen to that voice, that inner knowing, and I always call it your inner GPS. If you listen to that inner GPS it's never going to steer you wrong, even if on the outside, right, it looks like you're crazy.
Oh, that's my thing. I'm doing crazy making that looks fucking crazy to everyone else.
Right?
Because then it's like no question that it's from the divine. I mean, who the hell heals anaphylactic food allergies from eating pizza and cake? Like,
right?
That doesn't. And now I can eat whatever I want. I have no restrictions on anything. And it's about radical self-love. You know, today I might be eating McDonald's, but tomorrow I might be asked to be a raw vegan. You know, who knows? Yep. And not getting aligned in dogma of this is me and this is how I need to live my life with all these rules. It's like, no. You be open to the flow of however the divine chooses to take you.
So what's going on now in your life?
Right now I do cooking for people. I cook for people who are on special diets. So a lot of them are gluten-free or dairy-free. They have food allergies. Maybe they have kids with special needs or they have autoimmune issues. So I come and help cook for them. It's kind of the way
their house.
Okay. Kind of the way I used to eat. Because a lot of times it's really overwhelming for people to keep up with eating in a way that's in alignment with their body, and they kind of lose track. But when I had this awakening, I realized that the big piece that's missing is that a lot of people jump into a diet or exercise program or a self-improvement program or religion, not because it's what's in alignment with them, but because someone says, oh, this worked for me, it can work for you too.
They think.
Or we want you to do this and, you know, we'll be really happy because then you can be part of our group.
Right.
And they forget that you don't need to go in a box. You need to do what's right for you. And so really helping people tune into that, because a lot of times you forget the elephant in the room and you create all this busy work. Like for me, I needed to leave toxic relationships. And so I'm creating all these issues around, let me fix my food and let me see this chiropractor. And no, I just need to cut ties with toxicity. And it goes away. And I love Anita Morjani. I don't know if you've heard of her before, but she had a near-death experience. She almost died of cancer. And when she woke up from her coma, like nearly like seconds from death, her cancer left. And within a couple days or weeks, she was discharged from the hospital. It's been years. She's cancer-free. And she realized that her whole life was in fear. And she was terrified to get cancer. Every decision she made.
And was she terrified of life altogether? Mm-hmm. I wonder if this is the same one that was on Wayne Dyer.
That's her.
Is that her?
Yeah.
I knew the name, but I couldn't connect it.
And so she recovered, and she says, I live from love now, and I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want as long as it's done with love, not fear. And she says, I want people, if they get an illness, to not research their illness at all. I don't want them to learn one thing about it. Go seek help practitioners, whether alternative or Western medicine, that makes you feel empowered, that makes you feel, this is what is going to give me hope. This is what's going to help me find me and learn to love me, learn to meditate, learn to experience pleasure. Because so many people are denying themselves that and not really giving themselves permission to love themselves in a way that love themselves and their experiences and their challenges, all of it, radically, and give themselves permission to love themselves and the experience in a way that is in alignment with them. Not what the doctor says, or the religion, or the spouse,
or the teacher, or the coach, or the
and really learning to love me, really learning to love you, regardless of what that looks like. Even if it scares you shitless, because you may need to move, you may need to quit your job, who knows, you might be homeless. I don't know. You just go with it because you just know this is what I need to do to be in alignment. And you go with it. And so with my work that I'm doing, the cooking, I'm wanting to guide people more in that direction.
So really you're using that as the vehicle.
Yeah, right? So I'm moving away more from rigid diets to coaching and offering that to help people be intuitive with their eating and recognizing that it's way more than food. It's your relationship with the food. And a lot of people have so much guilt with enjoying food. Oh, I shouldn't eat that. You wouldn't eat that piece of cake. You fucking eat that cake and you make love to it. Like, you just like enjoy that moment and let it be like this blissful thing instead of, oh, I was really bad. I did this thing. Like, no, enjoy it. That's what we're here for, to have this body, to enjoy life. You can't have that experience without a body.
You you're teaching them that you just got to learn to live, right?
Yeah.
You have to learn to live. And I know you were saying in that loving state, which I believe maps to that courageous state.
It's radical.
It is.
Self-love.
It is.
Radical.
And but it's a courageous state because it's so not normal, right? Not normal, right?
It's not normal.
Yeah. And
well, it is normal, but
but you know what I mean. That's why I did the quotes.
Yeah.
Not normal, right? And that's why I believe true entrepreneurs with a real entrepreneurial DNA have such a hard time in the early stages because we don't fit in to this box. We don't fit into this lane. And it's interesting. When I break down myself, the gym is my iron therapy, right? The gym is, it's my zen.
Awesome.
And I also have motion therapy. So when I'm in my truck, right, I'm moving. It's therapy for me. And then when I'm walking my dog, it's therapy for me. So I noticed that, right? And
I love that you do that because people think that meditation needs to be like sitting in lotus position.
Oh my God! I just want to hug her.
Like, no.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? I can't.
Taking a shower, you can be a meditation. You know, laying on the grass, looking at a bug, smelling a flower, having
you know
sex.
what else for me?
All...
Yes, and you know what else for me is I can just sit and pet my dog and have that connection. Right?
You just lose time. You're just so immersed.
And that's my meditation. But I was always trying to do the. I'm like, my mind's going crazy, right? The closest I came was I did yoga, right? And going through my divorce, my ex-wife literally suggested yoga, right? And I was angry, just going through all those emotions. And two things helped me. This, and I'll always remember this with our marriage counselor, and she became a really good friend. And anyway, and she's spiritual. She's the one that got me on this spiritual journey, right? I had no idea what the universe was, anything like that, right? And so when we were going through this, she goes, "It's okay," right? And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, when you go through a divorce, right? And both people truly care about one another, and the intention is pure. She said, it's a mourning process. You just have to go through that. And I've taken that with me, right? All the way. It was a game changer for me. Like I never thought of it that way. Yeah. Cool. And she introduced me to personal development. She introduced me to what I call the real world or life 101, right? Because personal development really should be taught from day one. Because it's life 101.
And there is value though in learning the different things. It's sort of like when you're doing your exercise. You do different types of exercise to build the muscles. So you're not just only going to do weights. You're going to do different things. So when you're doing research and trying out different meditation, yoga, or exercise, you just are strengthening your meditation muscles. Right. And it's research. You go, nope, not me. Okay, then I'm one step closer to what's for me. There we go. Right.
Or it's a combination.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Or the other thing that you have to give yourself the okay with is it might be this today.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, right? It might. And for me, when I can grasp that, that's my heaven because it's interesting. I love a routine if it's on my terms. Right? As soon as it's not on my terms, it doesn't work for me. But at the same time, I love new.
You know what? I just had an insight too. Like it's a perfect practice of radical self-love when your way of meditation and honoring that need in you, the stillness, the quiet, and the knowing is not normal for everyone else. It's like, oh God, I'm doing it wrong, and then you really have to realize, like, no, this is me. And you love yourself, and it's like, it doesn't matter.
No.
How other people do it. This is the way I need to do it. This is the way I need to do things to love myself.
Yes.
And giving yourself that permission.
And knowing who you are and being okay with it. One of the things that I teach, I share, is, I talk about fear barriers, right? And right? The fear of the unknown, the fear of the darkness, the fear of failure, success. I believe they all map to two major fears. The fear of change and the fear of what other people think. And the fear of what other people think, I think, is the biggest stopper for the majority of people. So then the next question usually is, well, how do you conquer that fear? How do you make that fear work with you, for you, right? And I think in very simple terms. I'm a simple person, right? I believe that when you live your life with intention, you become bulletproof. So if I use a word or a sentence that offends you, but my intention is pure, that's on you. That's your problem. You need to figure that out. I'm good. You know, and I think that is, and it boils down to, I know you've heard this probably over and over and over, what you think of me is none of my business, right? And it sounds cool, right? It sounds powerful, but it's so hard for people to live on a consistent basis.
What I really grasped with that, I was doing a meditation one time on that, and I realized that I was not acting from my authentic self, that I was waiting for permission from others, because even the act of loving myself needed validation from others. Oh, you've got this really nice quality. Okay, well, I can love myself about this quality because someone else said.
They said it's good. Yeah, they said it's good.
And I thought, okay, well, why am I not giving that to myself? And it's like buy myself a present, or
what do you do?
How do I love myself? What does that look like? I never even asked before what that was. And so I did this whole meditation on what that was and asking my body, what do you need? What do you need for me to love you, to feel this part of you that's waiting for permission from other people?
You never, like most, right?
Yeah.
You never even explored it. Yeah. It was never even an option.
And then when you have that, it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter if everyone is spitting on you and throwing rotten tomatoes, because it doesn't, because you feel that. That's a need that needs to be filled only by you.
Right. And here's the beautiful part, I think, that really needs to be, we're going to circle, we're going to put neon lights around this. When you can truly come from that place and find that place whenever you want, the energy that you put out now detracts those rotten tomatoes. It brings in those flowers. It brings in that great energy in those people and those circumstances, right? That you never could attract. You know, it's kind of like telling a story or creating a movie for people, right, that are listening. And we get to a point now where we're just riding off into the sunset, you know, and it's a happy ending. And people feel guilty, but you can create that happy ending. Yes.
And I'm getting there. It's really beautiful, because after my suicide attempt with the needing the tracheostomy after, because my airway just closed up, and it was interesting because my whole life before my identity, I'm thinking, this is me. I'm a singer. I'm a swimmer. I'm a performer. People see that pretty girl up on stage, and that's me. And when that got taken away, it was like,
who am I?
Who am I?
I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, right? And I had to find me. I had to find my voice without even being able to speak. Like, whoa, what is this? And so now when I'm working with clients and even moving forward with my story, I feel it's so important to use my voice in this new way. Getting rid of the not me, being authentic and being me, and sharing that and empowering others, so giving them permission to give themselves permission to radically self-love, regardless of how that looks for other people, to allow amazing miracles beyond their wildest dreams to come true. One of the clients that I have now, I went to cook for her one day and I finished work early. I said, how would you like to use this time? And she says, I would like for you to stay and for you to share your healing story with me. And I thought, oh, great. Because that's what I really want to do, is to transition from the cooking to speaking, coaching, workshops.
So now we're going to give you some really good gold nuggets. Right? Yeah. Think about this. It's never by mistake. You were thinking about it. You were manifesting it. And you created that person to come into your life to give you that opening. Yeah. It wasn't luck. It was life's laws. Right? And you created that. Yeah. Right? You created that. Yeah. So how did that make you feel?
It was amazing. This is what I want to do. I want to speak. I want to coach. I want to do workshops, and I want to write a book. And I'm working on writing my book right now. And so I had this beautiful experience sitting with my client for about an hour. And she was just like, you need to do this. A lot more of this. I'll help you. Like, let's get groups together. And she says, people need to hear this story. And so as I'm sharing it, I was just like leaving, like, ah. And I get home and I needed to walk my dog. And she'd been alone for a long time, and So she's a little relaxed, chill dog, lounge around, take a nap in the sun. That's her version of a walk. She wanted to go running, and I thought, let's see how this goes. But I've not been able to run since 2004.
But she felt your energy.
Mm-hmm.
She felt your energy.
Yeah. And so I thought, I don't know how long this run's going to last. I have not been able to run since 2004 without coughing, wheezing, gagging, the whole drama. So we ran and ran and ran for 5 minutes. And I thought, oh my God. And I know that may not sound like a big deal to run for 5 minutes. But that I came home and I was crying like a baby. I thought, oh my God, this is a miracle. I recognized that by speaking and activating my throat, it's like this act of healing my throat, and it's helping other people heal. It's giving a gift to us both. And so I'm crying, bawling my eyes out. And my dog, she looks at me, little Ginger. She's like, I love you, snuggling. And I hear this voice, and it says, Tiffany, you're already healed. Start acting like it. And it was this voice of no more can'ts. Oh, I can't run, I can't hike, I can't swim. It was like, no, go and do it. And if you get confused because your breathing sounds funny or your talking sounds winded or you're coughing, forget it. It's a confusion. You're already healed. And just act like it. Wow. And go slow, pace yourself so you don't get injured. Not lose sight that the healing is there, but keep sharing your story. And my dog, Ginger, she just got so excited. She's like, I see you, Mama. I see you. You've got it. And she just wanted to play and wrestle.
Really?
Oh, yeah, she was just so excited. And then after she settled down, I opened my phone on Facebook. It says, congratulations, you just hit 500 friends. Time to celebrate. And the 500th friend was someone that wanted to connect with me over my story.
Wow.
And then I scrolled down a bit, and it landed on a post by a man who does speaking coaching for TED Talks. And he was offering this promotion to make a donation.
Our mutual friend.
Yeah. And so I looked at it, and the fundraising campaign that he was raising money towards and he was going to offer services free if he made a donation. I thought, check out this charity, and is offering meals for the homeless, like nourishing meals. And I thought, oh my gosh, start the day offering nourishing meals, sharing my story, have a healing, and then connect with someone about how to share your story, and then going back to the meals. And so, yeah, it was like, oh my God, keep going.
But it's what we said, it becomes magical, right? It's magical. We're living in this magical world that we don't even realize. And that's why,
I just want to shake people. You've got
I know.
You.
But think about nature, right? And how we miss, as humans, nature. Your dog knew all along. I mean, think about that. Mm-hmm. Think about that. That's how powerful nature is. And even
the way with her manifesting her illness, requiring us to move down here, and then doing more work with the animal communicator, Sharon Loy. She's an amazing animal communicator. And working with my dog, it's like Sharon is this translator for my dog, and she's able to point out all these things that have been portals to opening on my journey. And it's just, oh my God, right. Utilizing nature in a whole new way.
And here's the other thing that has to be, people have to understand, is you built enough level of awareness, right, to where, and let's put it this way, if you didn't, you might have not saw the gift that your dog was giving you. You might have came home and said, settle down. But you had enough level of awareness at that time to understand what that was.
Yeah.
No, but that's huge.
And my client brought that up. She said, the one that I talked about just a minute ago, where I shared my story with her, and she said, when you really surrender to that power and surrender to that radical self-love and just knowing that you're going to jump and the universe is going to catch you, people just come to you. Yeah. Experiences come to you. You don't even work for it. It just falls in your lap. It's magical. It just falls in your lap. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, even a lot of my clients, I don't need to advert. They just find me. Oh, here. Yeah. And it's like, oh, great.
I always say it's like you're in a canoe or you're in a kayak, and you're either paddling crazy upstream, fighting, or you figure out how to turn that around, go downstream. You have to put the paddle in the water. You know, it's just the flow,
yeah.
right? And when you even think about that, it's very soothing.
Yeah. Well, I do that in the ocean even. When I've had my sense of completion in the ocean, I just tell the Mother Ocean, just send me back, and it just pushes me back. Yeah.
It's awesome. Are you offering the coaching now? What do you offer?
I'm not quite ready to offer coaching yet, but I will do the cooking with people and help them with the metaphysical component of the food. And so people in the North San Diego County area, I will do some other areas periodically, but I want to do...
Yeah, this is your territory.
I want to do the healing with food.
Okay.
And there's more information on that on my website. And then also I'm working on writing a book, and I'm also looking for opportunities to speak and share my story. So if anyone has a group that resonates with what I have to share, I offer customized talks and workshops based on that.
So we end the show the same way every time.
Okay.
So I'm a big believer that you can only be in one state of mind at a time, right? So if you're in victim state, at that moment, there's no room for anything else.
Right.
Would you agree?
I really do.
So when you're in that happy state, right, there's no room for anything else at that moment. And I always believe that life makes the rules. We don't make the rules. And life always asks the questions and gives us options. And life right now is saying, Tiffany, if you could live your life, the rest of your life, purring like a kitten or roaring like a lion,
Roaring like a lion.
Girl, I knew it. I knew it.
A lioness.
That's it. That's it. Take that control, girl. So we're going to take this out Monster Motivator style. It's called the Monster Motivator Roar. Right? On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah! That a girl. Awesome job.